Hello and welcome back to Frequency Intuitive. Today's reading is all about from survival to overflow, shifting energy and moving on to that timeline where you really feel like you step into the fullness of life and your state of being just feels abundant and radiant and juicy, and it's all of the good things, and you're no longer in that scarcity or lack energy or just trying to make ends meet or just wondering why things never seem to kind of move into the fullest manifestation that you're hoping for. This is all about that shift and energy and transition. I'm very excited for this reading. We have four piles as always. Pile 1, it is card 62 with the bell, and the resonant crystal is this desert rose. Group 2, card 43 with the key, and your resonant crystal is this. I think it's aventurine, bluish green crystal. Group 3, card 61 with the gate, and the rose quartz raindrop or teardrop. Group 4, card 58 with the fountain, and this ore treated quartz tower. So as always, tune into the pile or piles that resonate with you and that are calling to you or stand out to you, and when you're ready, I'll see you in your group. Hello, beautiful souls. In pile 1, you have card 62 with the bell as your main card. And we're going to begin by reading from the guidebook to see how that lines up for this energy of moving out of survival and into overflow, which I just love that phrase. It just feels so alive. Your card reads, the bell, sign of awakening. You are living the miracle. The sign of the bell softly says, it is time to wake up. The bell ringing is a call from your spirit. You're transitioning from living in a dreamlike state to a state of awareness. You no longer want to be a passive player in your life, and you are ready to take action. This means a moment of uncertainty is coming to an end, and a big announcement could be happening for you soon. Maybe it's the news you've been waiting to hear for a long time, the achievement of the goal, or return of a loved one. Have faith that your time is coming and permit yourself to trust the goodness that is showing up for you. Pay attention to this sign in your daily life and your dreams. The angels love this instrument to subtly show their presence. If you're in balance with this energy, there's announcing, awakening, receiving messages, feeling ready to take action. If you're out of balance with this energy, it feels like ignoring the call, being unaware or unconscious, mindlessness, or feeling uncertain. Wow, I really love how that aligns with the energy of this reading. A big announcement coming soon, the achievement of a goal, news you've been waiting to hear, the return of a loved one, no longer being a passive player in your life, but taking action. That's beautiful. I don't read the cards in advance. I just pick intuitively based on what I feel led to. So that's very synchronistic, and I'm really enjoying that. So let's find out. For pile 1, please, can you show us more about how they are moving from survival into overflow? All about that transition, what they can expect, what signs to look for. Obviously the bell being one of them. It could be the sound of a bell or like alerts going off that could have been happening. You could hear bells chiming. You may have seen this symbol in your dreams. Those two are coming out like sticky glue. Okay, you also got the lion. Okay, I know this is the symbol of strength. This could also represent Leo energy, card 26. And you got the goat, card 37. Okay, I want to read both of those because I almost picked animal cards for this reading, and both of these were two of the ones that I felt drawn to. So, card 37, the goat, reads Spirit of Passion. Fire can create life or destroy it. The spirit of the goat wants to remind you the desires that live within your heart. Passion is a powerful force. It has a light and a shadow, and the line that divides them can easily become blurry. Passion can build castles of dreams, but also burn down bridges of hope. When you put it at your service, it's a spark of creativity and a powerful motor to ignite projects or relationships. Still, if it becomes a temptation, it can lead you down an unwanted path of toxic behaviors. So passion needs to meet temperance. It's a fire that needs to be tamed by your soul. And taming doesn't mean taking away any of its strength. It means owning and learning how to use this power for the highest purpose. Let the passion be the flame that warms your heart, but not the chain that harms your soul. If you're in balance, you're feeling passion, you're experiencing high creativity, you have energy to manifest your dreams, you're fulfilling projects, and you're finding relationships bursting with loving energy. If you're out of balance, you may be wasting energy, behaving in toxic or addictive ways, feeling confused, or following unwise desires. Okay, very interesting. So balance and temperance coming in here. And of course we have the lion, which is a symbol of strength. I'm not going to read that whole one, but we'll just say, if you're in balance, you're strengthening your will, you're becoming determined, you're assertive and confident. Out of balance, lacking leadership, fearing being seen, low self-esteem, or feeling insecure. This is about finding what you're good at and letting it shine, it says. Finding your weaknesses and accepting them, but being proud of who you are. Strong at will, but soft at heart. Speaking your truth. Yeah, definitely, but this is about stepping into your power and finding that balance about something that is calling you. Let's get way more cards here. For group 1, please. Tell us about their journey from survival to overflow. More about the overflow part, because I'm sure they're very familiar with the survival part and the struggle that comes with that. Okay, do nothing. I knew this was going to come out because they showed me the do nothing coming out for one of the groups last night when I was falling asleep. Void moon, do nothing came out, and moonlit, embrace uncertainty. Okay. We'll find out more about these. What else? What else for group 1, please? Okay, so they just want me to speak on the cards that are out first, which I can certainly do. So your journey and the shift that's going to happen as you step through this portal, this is a moment where you flip a switch. It's a moment where it may have already happened or it may be about to happen, which is why you're finding this reading. It's a moment where you pull yourself out of the rat race and pull yourself out of routines and repetitive behaviors that you are a little bit locked into and possibly you feel chained to, or just like you can't find a way out or an escape route, or you can't find space to choose differently. And you move into literally a portal that your perspective and your perception and your experience of your reality literally shifts. Now they're showing me an example from this morning. I went out on my back deck because it was a beautiful day here in Canada. The weather has not been great. It rains a lot in spring, which is needed, but it was a beautiful day and I was like, oh, I'm going to enjoy this moment. I went out on the back deck and I sat down and I was boiling hot. I was immediately humid, hot, sticky. The sun was overhead and I was like, oh, that wasn't as enjoyable as I thought it was going to be. So I sat there for maybe 2 minutes and I started to get more and more uncomfortable. And I was like, okay, well, that's disappointing. I was so excited to come outside on the beautiful day and I'm already hot and sweating and uncomfortable and I want to go back in. And my guide said to me, just move to the other side of the deck. And I said, well, how much difference could that possibly make? I don't have an umbrella set up. There's no shade. It's just one side to the other. And the sky was like, the sun was right up in the sky. But I did it anyway, and I moved just to a chair on the other side of the deck, on the left side. And the difference was enormous. There was a cool breeze, just the angle of the sun was slightly different on me, and I was instantly immersed in bliss. It was beautiful. I could hear the birds chirping. It was just one of those moments that you have where everything feels perfectly right. And as I sat there, I spoke to my guides about that, and they said, look at how big of a difference your experience was. You're on the same deck, you're in the same chair, it's the same day, it's the same moment, and yet you chose to shift your position slightly out of this discomfort, and you found yourself in enjoyment and satisfaction and bliss. And that really stuck with me. And so they've showed me now about that example relating to your reading. So this could have something to do with shifting your perspective ever so slightly, or your position on something, where maybe the abundance and the overflow that you're looking for isn't quite as far as you think. Now, when I say abundance and overflow, this can look however that means, whatever that means to you. This can be literal financial, coins, pentacles, a house, a job, a car, or this can be also and state of being, more peace, more ease. This can be energy in your body, more vitality, more wellness. This can be more love, more harmony in your relationships. Whatever overflow looks like to you, this can be your spiritual world expanding, your resonance with your guides and the higher realms. It's not limited to anything. It's whatever it means to you, that you feel like you're in an energy of ease and abundance in all things, where there's no scarcity, there's no lack, and you don't feel like you're struggling anymore. You feel like you can rest in the ease of your life, and you're enjoying things, you're pursuing things. It doesn't mean you're necessarily not working or anything like that, or doing tasks. It's just that you feel so differently in that energy. So with the do nothing and the embrace uncertainty come up. That also came up, I believe, in the last reading, so you may have been from that group. Often cards will repeat when the same people pick that pile in the next reading. The do nothing shows that there's a period where you need to rest in the feeling of just tuning in to your own intuition, meditating, taking a day off, stepping back from a situation, stepping back from a problem that you're trying to solve. It could be that there's nothing pressing really on your mind, but it's that encouragement that sometimes we need to just be in stillness and not have a focused task for the day. Give yourself a day off. Give your mind a day off from problems. Maybe you just don't put anything on your to-do list and you just let yourself be led through the day. I feel like going for a walk. I feel like taking a shower. I feel like drawing. I feel like calling this friend. Maybe it's not that you specifically maybe don't do anything, but it's that you have nothing specifically on your mind, no agenda, and that you're led just from your present moment only. And also here with this embrace uncertainty, you could be facing something in your realm where you're not sure where to go next, where you're not sure how to shift to that out of survival and into overflow, where you're not sure of your path. Maybe you have something, a choice that you have to make. Maybe it's a crossroads energy that you're at. Should I go to school, or should I go to work, or should I go to this school or that school, or should I retire, or should I keep working? Should I sell my business? Should I start up on my own, or should I go back and work for this corporation? Should I, start a family? Should I not start a family? There can be many, many things in this embrace uncertainty energy. That's basically saying you're in that point where you're standing in front of a door and you don't know what it holds on the other side. That's the uncertainty. But the moment that you're in is not the moment to put your hand on the door yet. The moment that you're in right now, it could be this week, it could be this month, it could be this year. There is a period of do nothing. energy where you'll have to know intuitively how long that lasts for you. Like I said, it literally could be one day, or it could be a year where you feel like you're not quite sure. For example, if you've just finished your schooling and you're unsure of your path of what you want to do next, what job, what creative venture you want to start. You've kind of moved out of one world of education and you're not sure which world or timeline you're stepping into. That period could last months to a year. You could say, if you have the financial resources or you have the support, you could say, I'm going to just wait. I'm going to I'm going to try different things. I'm going to invest in my inner world. I'm going to really get myself grounded and stable in my spiritual path, tuning into my ancestors, my guides, my higher self, establishing routines for self-care and for groundedness, like journaling, like meditating, like physical wellness practices, like making sure that's all established. There could be a period of time that you can embrace not having an active goal that you're pursuing. Or it could be, like I said, a period of 24 hours or a couple of days where you're currently actively having to make a choice. Do I accept this job? Do I repair this situation, repair this friendship or this relationship? Do I accept this person's offer? Someone's asked me to marry them, someone's asked me to move in with them, or I've had a huge fight with someone and I'm not sure how to proceed. It could be something immediate where it's a period of 24 hours that they're saying, there's a shift here that can be made to move you from survival to overflow. But for now, reflect, meditate, do nothing until you know exactly what to do. You're in a period of moon energy, which is uncertainty, and that's okay because there will be a time, like it says here with the bell. Let's revisit that now that we've had all this energy of do nothing and embrace uncertainty. It says, yeah, you're transitioning from living in a dreamlike state to a state of awareness. You no longer want to be a passive player in your life and you're ready to take action. Oh my gosh, guys, no wonder they said for me to reread this. It literally says, this means a moment of uncertainty. Embrace uncertainty will soon be coming to an end and a big announcement will be happening. This could be the news you've been waiting for. Have faith that your time is coming. Pay attention to this sign. Okay. So your shift from survival to overflow occurs at the tipping point of this switch flipping where you shift out of this not knowing, stillness, doing nothing, not having to embrace uncertainty, having to surrender to the not knowing. And then something happens. The bell tolls, the phone rings, the message comes, and something shifts the energy forward. That's how your journey plays out from this shift. It does happen at the activation point of some sort of aha moment. An offer of something, an announcement of news, a dream that you've been wanting to come forward. It literally says that it will be some sort of message coming in or wish being fulfilled where you're like, oh my gosh, I got accepted to the school. Oh my gosh, I got that job. Oh my gosh, this person proposed to me or asked me to move in or said yes to going on a date. There's some moment that you shift timelines and they're acknowledging, your guides are acknowledging that right now you do feel in this uncertainty, do nothing, and that will be shifting when this bell tolls. And this passion with this goat, this creative fire will start to burn, and this lion, this strength and this confidence will come out. You'll go literally from feeling uncertain to feeling confident here with the lion and the goat. You'll literally go from feeling like you don't know what to do and it's unclear and you're in a holding pattern to feeling completely led, completely clear, completely guided, completely in the sun energy. The sun energy here with the lion is that energy of clarity. It's confidence. It's, I know exactly what I'm going to do. I know how to move forward. I know exactly what I'm being called to do. I know exactly what's on my plate for today. I know exactly what my desire and my purpose is, and moving towards it and having that burning fire energy here with the goat that you feel excited for the day. You feel moving forward. You feel you're out of that sluggish, stale energy where you're like, I don't even know what I'm doing, what I want to do. Nothing seems to be moving forward. Everything I kind of apply for or try, it ends up being a no. And it moves into this alive, passionate energy that you can like sink your teeth into and you can start to play with that energy and that field. It's like you get to go to the school, or you get to start the job, or you get to enjoy the relationship. It becomes active instead of just a thought, like it said, moving from that dreamlight state into a state of awakening where it's there, you're aware of it, it's perceived, it's manifested, you've taken control in a sense of that situation, and you've pursued it, and it's manifested. It's happening. It's that energy. Okay, what else do you want for group 1? Let's get this astro deck and see if there's any astrological factors or influences for group 1 from survival to overflow. Your cards are coming out sticky. Both of them came out like that. It's very unusual. I haven't experienced that in a long time, where they kind of like pull out of the deck like they're glued, which I'm getting the energy of. There's a little bit like of resistance to in your energy field to moving, to having this clarity, to having these answers, to having this shift. I'm not sure why that is. You got Gemini and Neptune. Okay, so let's read about that. Yeah, the Gemini makes sense. That's exactly what I'm feeling. You may feel like of two minds about something. Kind of like, I'm not sure if I want to. It could be that, natural fear of starting something new. Like maybe you are starting a school or a new job, and it's like, oh gosh, like, even though you're excited and you know it's going to start you down this new timeline of like abundance and just everything that you want and security and freedom, it's still scary, right? It's so much unknown. So Gemini is the twins. Mercury is the ruler. It's mutable. It says, if this appears in a reading, your ability to adapt to new situations, yes, is going to be your greatest strength right now. A wave of change is coming your way. Okay, this is exactly what your reading has been saying. And at times you may feel like there isn't progress, but there is. Sometimes staying afloat is the goal. Life isn't always just about getting from point A to B, but you'll need to rely on your networking and social skills to get something done in the near future. So Gemini is here giving a little nudge in this direction. Evaluate the connections you have. Are you maintaining them? Are you offering something or just taking? People remember these interactions. Okay, and you got Neptune, which is it says the mystic. The element is water. So in a reading, now is the time to retreat and do a little solitude and self-reflection. With this void moon, do nothing. Exactly what it's saying. A spiritual check-in is the ultimate form of self-care, especially in a world filled with superficial noise. The constant barrage of messages that prey on our deepest insecurities can lead us down a dark path. Neptune can grant you the ability to tune out all the fakery and realign with your universal truth. Yeah, and you have this awakening here with the bell. What calls you to live on the highest psychic plane? It could be divinity, it could be beauty, it could be joy, anything. No matter what it is, you can connect to it by being still. Okay, now it says, if you have been engaging in self-destructive behaviors, now is the time to stop. Now, the goat also said that. That was the shadow aspect of the goat with the chain at the bottom of the card here. It said that passion can turn into toxic or addictive behaviors. So that's twice that's coming up here. No judgment, just observing that that's coming up in the reading. We all struggle with these things in different capacities. It's just that this could be an excellent time to take a look at that and see if it's something that you want to continue on to, or if you want to break that chain, if you're able to, or if you're open to it. Don't let negative thoughts take that away from you. You have a purpose here. Oh, sorry. It says, as long as you're living on this planet, you have the choice and ability to better your life. Don't let negative thoughts take that away from you. You have a purpose here, even if you've forgotten it. Neptune is giving you the chance to come back from the brink, so take it. Keywords: illusion, psychic ability, delusion, addiction, mysticism, spiritual needs. Very similar to this goat energy here with kind of like the the shadow and light aspects of that passionate energy. So you could be struggling with something here. It could be negative looping thoughts. It could be low self-esteem or low self-worth with the lion coming out here to boost your confidence. It could be lack of passion or direction. It could be just the world being too loud and feeling like really heavy on you. A lot of projections or expectations about things, unclarity, too much noise from the external. It part of your shift is those chains are broken. You release those chains. You rise up out of that heaviness and you reclaim your confidence and your light and your power. And you're like, you know what? I've been living in that energy. I've been living in that energy where I've been down on myself, where I felt like I don't have any worth, or I felt like, I have no purpose, or I'm just not, there's no point to me, being here, or I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to be doing or what value I can add. And something about this bell tolling, this awakening moment, this could literally be just an awakening, not just, but it's huge, an awakening. Like, I remember reading The Power of Now with Eckhart Tolle, and the beginning of his book, he talks about how he was just in such a dark, heavy depression for so many years, and his awakening was like on a park bench, and he said he sat on that park bench, I think, for like 3 days or something, and he was just in this state of like pure bliss. He literally had a quantum shift, an awakening where his frequency just completely raised back up to his eternal soul's resonant frequency, and he just existed in the higher realms and in those higher frequencies, just doing nothing. Like I said, his perspective didn't change. It was the same day, it was the same body, it was the same mind, it was the same everything, but everything transformed. Everything inside of him changed, and so his experience just completely changed, even though he was doing absolutely nothing. So with the bell, it does mean awakening. So it could mean a spontaneous awakening, a spiritual awakening. Maybe something's happened, maybe you've had some sort of life scare or health scare or near-death experience, or some huge loss or some huge gain in your life where you're just like, wow, like I'm just waking up to that there's a lot more going on here, and that there's just things that we don't understand, and there's things that I want to explore, and I'm feeling this expansion within me. It's like the curtains are opening on this window, and I just keep seeing more and more and more and more of my own spirit and of my own self and about existence, because you had the mysticism here also with Neptune coming up. Or it could be, like it said, at a moment, an announcement. You got the job, you're moving overseas, you're going to be going to school here, this person, like I said, a proposal, because announcement is also giving me proposal or marriage or something like this, promotion. It could also be some point of manifestation that shifts you into this overflow energy. Can you tell us a little bit more about this overflow energy that they will be experiencing as they shift through this portal, whatever this awakening announcement moment is, whether it's spiritual or physical or both? Oh, this one didn't want to go back in. I just heard strength again with this lion. You're just going to feel not like your normal self in the best way possible. You're going to feel like, what am I? They're giving me a song. I think it's from Les Miserables. It goes, who am I that I am in this man forevermore? Pretend I'm not the man I was before. I think Jean Valjean, no, does Javier sing it? If you know the musical Les Miserables, it's one of the songs in there. It was also made into a movie. But I'm getting that song, Who Am I? So you may want to look up the lyrics, put Les Miserables, Who Am I? If I remember when I'm editing, I'll link it. But I'm getting that energy where you're just going to feel like do I make this choice? Do I step over this threshold? Do I do this or do I do that? And then what will that say about me? I feel like you step into this energy where you're like, I'm completely a different person of who I was. Almost like it's like a reformation energy. Like you feel reformed. Like you're like, wow, like what was I doing before? Like even if it was nothing like, crazy or anything, it was just maybe you just didn't see your own power and your own beauty and your own influence here, and just the ability to create your own life. Maybe you step into the spiritual world and you're like, oh my gosh, my thoughts matter. My thoughts have impact. There's a whole world of the unseen realm guiding me and supporting me. I have a higher self. I have a higher path. I have a compass point, in the ether that's directing me through my heart and my emotions and my passions. It could just be this like feeling of complete transformation where you're like, wow, I didn't know this whole mystical spiritual world existed, and now I feel invincible. Now I feel re-enlivened. Now I feel completely stepping into this light, sun, confident, passionate energy. And it's like a bell tolls and you step through the veil basically into the other side. You have a second birth into this world. The first one where you kind of step into the constructs and distortions and the energy of the consciousness that was on the planet at the time of your birth. And then this second birth where your real eyes open, your third eye opens, your inner sight opens, and you're like, boom, I just keep seeing this ball of sun energy just like poof, like in your consciousness and your awareness, and you see everything differently. You're perceiving everything differently. You're seeing through love and compassion and joy and expansiveness and just the limitless possibilities of this world that's before you and your ability to create and bring forth into your life. And as you shift from this uncertainty, do nothing energy into this light sun energy, you are going to experience life exactly like they're showing me on the deck, like I did, from discomfort and kind of I was sweating and I was really uncomfortable and I just wanted out of there. I felt stifled. I felt hot. I felt uncomfortable into this. It was bliss. The breeze, the sun was making me just warm enough, and then the breeze was cooling me just enough that I was perfectly comfortable. And the birds and insects kept flying over me close to me that I could hear the vibration of their wings, the birds and the insects, and it was like tuning my frequency, and I was so grateful. And then there's other birds that were singing this melody that it sounded literally auto-tuned. It sounded like AI. It was so beautifully like perfect, and it's better than AI, better than auto-tune, but it sounded so crisp and like melodic. Like the melody of it was so enchanting. I was like, have birds always sounded like this? Like, that's the energy that you're going to be stepping into. It may have to do also with material, and abundant, because that always follows where you feel more secure in your place. But I see this really being heavily inner world transformation for you. It's much more about your eyes opening up, your real eyes, and seeing yourself for who you truly are, and seeing the world as it truly is through the eyes of a higher perspective, through the eyes of you, who is projecting into this avatar form here through the real you. So all of your soul comes into this experience with you, not just the eye of the needle that you could kind of see through from the ego perspective. That's really the overflow that in this group you're going to be stepping into. It's just going to feel so expansive, like the world has opened up, and you all of a sudden will have interest in so many things. Do I want a relationship? Do I want to, like, what about this relationship that I'm in, if you're in one? And like, what about friendships? And what about creative passions? And what about work and influence and purpose? And what about making money? And you're just going to have all of these ideas and passion and like this fire in your belly type thing with the goat here, with the fire energy. Also with the roses coming up from the goat, that could have to do with romantic connection too. And oh yeah, and there's a rose in the lion's mouth too. They're showing me you have 3 roses, which can be beloved, which can be love, which can be harmony and beauty. There's just this beautiful, and like the rainbow here in the middle over the bell, like you move into what Eckhart Tolle described, that bliss energy, what I experienced on the deck, where just every day, of course it's gonna ebb and flow. You may not be in that for an extended period of time, but overall your experience will be so heightened, so much more fulfilling and satisfying and emotionally deep from what you have been experiencing so far here in your incarnation. Yeah, delight. I'm not surprised that came out. So you have 3 cards. You got flexibility, another cat coming out here. Blessings. Like, come on. It's everything that we're talking about here. It's incredible. You're getting delight, blessings, 2 birds, and the flexibility card coming out here. I think you're going to find that you have the flexibility to do so many more things than you're used to being able to do. Like, just, I think you'll have the money, the time, the resources, the confidence. Because here's the thing, you could have all the money in the world, and this may be the case for you, but if you don't have interest and passion and confidence, you won't do anything. You would probably just sit at home, and just not want to go out, not want to explore, not even have any inspired ideas for how to use the resources that you have. You won't know how you want to delight in things. Does that make sense? Like, it's interesting how those go hand in hand. Can I just check the camera for a moment? Oh, loving how we're in view here for once. Two birds. And it's interesting, I was talking about the birds. The blessings that are coming in, it's like, and more flowers here, it's just the likes of which you've never seen. Let me just channel here so they can just show me things that maybe the cards wouldn't be able to. This is like right timing, being in the right place at the right time, because as you shift into this awakening energy where you're just like in that bliss, that state of allowing and receiving and abundance. And when you're in a flow state, when you're in that energy of universe, I love you, I love being here, thank you for this experience, you're in appreciation, you're in gratitude, you're in it's high frequency energy. And what happens is you naturally attract to you things that match that that are resonant with that frequency, which is blessings, which is being at the right place at the right time. Someone saying, oh, hey, I'm not using this car anymore, do you want it? And you're just like, you're just giving me a car. Or someone saying like, oh, hey, I'm traveling the world for a year, do you want to live in my home? And and you're like, you want me to live in your luxury home for a year? Sure. Like, it's that energy where the universe gives to you naturally. Not your frequency is such that you're resonant with things that match that. You're resonant with high frequency things, which is whatever for you would feel like ease and flow and security and comfort and more. This reading is about us being in a state of overflow where you have more than enough. You no longer are having to count change, budget things, watch your bills, plan for 5-10 years because you're still in debt and you can't get out of that for 10 years. So you definitely know that you can't buy a house for that. It's the feeling of all of a sudden a windfall, all of a sudden more income, all of a sudden more love, all of a sudden your tribe is there, all of a sudden so much support. It's overflow. It's filling a glass and it starts to flow over and you say, wow, this is a never-ending source of this. I never saw that there was a never-ending source of this. I always thought that I just had a little bit that I had to share out and ration. But now I see, at this frequency, at this perspective, I see that there is so much more, because it's not just me. It's source, it's universe, it's creation, it's my ancestors, it's my guides, it's those around me. We're sharing, we're flowing. It's all from an unlimited, limitless pot. And so I can call in whatever it is that I need because I'm worthy of that, and because I'm deserving of that, and because I have the power to do that. And as I learn more about these universal laws and how to do that, the more comes in, and so much more that I find that I'm able to actually give back, where maybe you felt like you didn't have time, energy, love, or resources ever to give back. Maybe you were like, I've always wanted to help out, this sibling who's struggling a little bit, or I've always wanted to donate to this cause, or I've always wanted to volunteer my time at this shelter, but I've just never had the time, or I've always wanted to, whatever it is, you suddenly find yourself in this energy where, say time, they're showing me, where in the past you may have had to go boom, 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 one thing to another. You're cleaning the kitchen, then you're getting the kids fed, then you're, having your shower, then you're going to bed, and then you're working, and then it just repeats. And all of a sudden you find that something shifts in your world, whatever this bell tolling is. It could be completely your perception only, that you're able to use your time in a different way, that it feels like you have more, even though your tasks haven't changed. Or it could be, or something actually happens, some sort of windfall or inheritance or win or investment comes in, or someone donates, or something happens, or you get more money or more pay, or something happens that or like I said, maybe you're retiring. There's so many limitless things here because it's a general reading, where you are sitting at home and all of a sudden you're like, I have an abundance of time today. What do I want to do with my time? Do I want to read a book? Do I want to watch that movie that's been on my mind? Do I want to plan this trip that's been on my mind? Do I want to, like, all of a sudden, like, the world is your oyster and it's just opening up, and you can choose these delights and these blessings, and they just literally, they're showing me like them raining on you. I'm not one of those readers who's going to be like blah 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 blah, happy happy, joy joy, because then you'll watch my videos. Like, if you know my readings, they're not typically like that, but okay, they're just, I just try and channel the messages of whatever's helping in that moment for whoever's tuning in. That's my purpose and my intention. But sometimes you do get a reading, and there is this is the theme of the reading, where there is this feeling of blessings and abundance and rainbows. And I believe more of us are activating this in the collective, which means more of us are going to be examples of it, which means more of that energy is going to expand and be present, which means it becomes an overflow. That frequency becomes more accessible and more bright and more demonstrated. And so more people find it. And so it's not unusual now to get a reading that would say delight and blessings in the same reading. And so you're literally just going to be having so much more. You're just going to be enjoying life so much more. And it's going to give you, like I said, this flexibility to do and choose more things for yourself than you maybe didn't have that flexibility before, if you were in survival mode or in lack or in scarcity. So you're reading, they're wrapping it up. They're saying that the messages are complete. I just want to do a recap. Basically, what's happening here, your journey from, if this resonates for you, take what resonates only. Your journey from survival to overflow starts with moving from this uncertainty about what path you're on, or uncertainty about what timeline you're stepping on to next, moving from an energy of not feeling clear, kind of doing nothing or waiting or having stillness about something. And then this bell chimes. Something will be happening soon. If you've found this reading, the time will be different for everybody, where you literally either have an awakening moment and your life just completely shifts and your perspective changes. It could be starting from this reading, it could be from a meditative state, it could be from something else you watch or read, it could be just comes to you an activation or an upgrade in your dreams or in your sleep, and or some sort of announcement or message about something that you've been waiting for to know. This comes through and it shifts and it expands and it moves you on to this timeline of overflow, where you move into an energy of Leo, the lion, the sun, strength. There's a crown here. Confidence, expansiveness, creativity, the goat, fire, passion, creativity, love, interest, feeling that sense of alive. Things are calling you, things are interesting to you. And it brings connections, it brings social opportunities here with Gemini. The Gemini card, it brings mysticism and spirituality. It brings this awareness of your spiritual world in for you. I just want to look at that Gemini again, because they're highlighting something that they want me to talk about and I'm not quite getting it. And they said it's there. So I'm just going to read it again. Oh yeah, adapting to new situations, a wave of change. Yeah, Gemini is bringing this wave of change. Gemini is bringing this new situation that you're going. Oh, and so interesting that you had the Gemini. That's what they wanted me to read. It said adapting to new situations right beside the flexibility card. So you're going to be in this energy of like, okay, wow, I've never been in this position before. I've never had this situation before. I've never had these resources or this, type of influence or this type of passion at my fingertips. And you're going to go on this journey where your exploration of your inner world, this spirituality, this mysticism, you shift into a higher resonant frequency, whatever this announcement is or this path or this awakening moment brings, and it shifts you from survival literally into a frequency of overflow, which means you're open and you're expansive and you're awakened and you're seeing the light and you're shining your light and you're resonating in peace and love and joy. It's not that you're not going to dip into the lower frequencies. That's the polarity of life here. But you're not going to stay there like you might have in the past. You will dip in, then the ball bounces down, and then the ball will bounce back up, and then you allow your frequency to raise back up to where it normally, naturally wants to be, to the perspective of your higher self. And then you live in those frequencies, and there's delight, and there's blessings, and there's joy, and you feel in your power, and your life will begin to stabilize at that higher frequency, which means your inner state will become more frequently one of bliss, of ease, of expecting positive things, of enjoyment of your life, where your life, you stop waiting for the other shoe to fall, because you start to see the evidence and the groundedness in where you are. You start to see, the more that I have positive expectation, the more that I extend grace and compassion, the more love that I allow to fill my heart and my energy, the more that I self-nurture and take time to meditate and take time to make sure that I'm grounded and my nervous system is stable, the more that expands in my actual reality, the more it's demonstrated in front of my eyes. And so your life literally stabilizes in that overflow energy, and the better it gets, the better it gets is what they're saying. And that's when they want to end your reading off on. Thank you so much for being here and allowing me to read for you. I really enjoyed this. I hope that that resonated for you. My guides are saying that there could be other themes and other piles. I haven't filmed anything, so I don't know where I could direct you, but if you did feel called to another group, I would trust that. If not, then that message is not for you, and you've definitely then that's the completion of your reading. So if you did feel called to another group, I'll see you there shortly. And if not, it'll be in another reading on another day. Bye. Hello, group 2. Welcome to your reading. You have card 43 with the key. So we'll start by reading from the guidebook to find out your journey from survival mode to overflow. Now, this can be anything that is overflow or abundant feeling to you, a state of being, material things, security, love, whatever that means to you, all of the above. Oh, one thing I want to say before we start was I feel like you will be moving from discomfort into comfort, specifically because when I was starting your reading, I could not get comfortable. I adjusted my chair like 1,000 times. I started to feel hot. I was sweaty. I started to feel like just flustered and frustrated, which should never occur. So I had to reground myself, take a few breaths, and just sit in a meditative state before I began. But then Spirit showed me that is how they're feeling, because as I approached the energy of your group, I started to pick up on your energy. So that if that resonates for you, definitely in the right place. The key, a sign of revelation and openness. Everything you are searching for already lies within your heart. What secrets lie within your heart? What do you desire and hope with your whole soul? You keep so many wonders within you. Just imagine the possibilities you could unlock if you lived from your potential instead of living in fear. But before you go any further, you need to believe you are enough. And that is something that needs to rise with honesty from your heart. The whole world could be rooting for you, but if you don't see yourself as the brilliant being you are, you'll miss out on the blessings life has for you. Therefore, open the secret chambers of your heart and let the light softly enter and heal it. Receive the key as a sign of doors opening for you and overcoming obstacles. If you find a door that won't open, it just means it's not for you, and the universe is directing you to something better. If you're in balance with this energy, secrets are revealed, receiving opportunities, being willing to heal, and you're opening your heart. If you're out of balance with this energy, you're insisting on things that are not meant for you, you're ignoring solutions, or you're closing off your heart. Okay, so this is about moving out of fear into love, out of a closed, tense, resistant heart space, out of protection and out of, fear, not just for stubbornness, because, I'm sure you've been hurt, or you've been disappointed, or you've been maybe, blamed or made the scapegoat, or they're just showing me a lot of things where you've hardened because things were put on you or projected towards you that were other people's pain, and that caused you to lock up yourself a little bit. This could have been in childhood, this could have been in adult relationships. You may have resonated or chosen the group from the last reading. I think it was group 2. There was a group where it was all about not breaking free of the chains and not allowing someone's projections and things that someone said in the past to allow to influence your decisions. If you were from that reading, then you're definitely in the right place, because I'm picking up a similar energy there from there. So let's begin your reading, or continue your reading about your journey from survival mode to overflow. Okay, let's start with this. For group 2 now, please. The key. Yeah, I heard the key is within them. So you got howl at the moon, process your feelings, and full moon, forgiveness. I feel like you either got the exact same cards in that last reading, or it was the same energy. Like I said at the beginning, this is about, you've been through a difficult time in life. You've been through more pain and trauma than most have had to endure or encounter. You've been, I keep saying you've literally been like attacked or made the target of something, and you were brave and you were strong and you had courage, but you held that all in. You had no choice. You didn't know how to process it. Maybe you didn't have the opportunity to process it. Maybe you were in an unsafe environment then, and you had to literally get through it, maybe disassociate, maybe just let things, clamp them away, tamp them down, just get through the day. You were literally in survival mode, not like metaphorically. I think you were literally in survival mode, and there's probably people that, I don't want to say people that you have to forgive or that you want to forgive, because I don't really feel in most cases that this is a door you would want to open again, but for yourself, moving into an energy of forgiveness. Now, forgiveness is a very triggering word sometimes for some people. Sometimes a better word is into an energy of releasing for you. It's not to say, because sometimes forgiveness feels like, okay, I'm letting you off the hook for that. Okay, I'm accepting what happened. And that's not the energy of the forgiveness here. Sometimes it's that. But in this case, it feels like an energy of letting it go from your own energetic space, allowing yourself to live from out under that rock. Like someone literally tried to put a boulder on you. And in this case, forgiveness is you saying, Spirit, guides, lift this burden from me, take this burden from me, and allowing yourself to live a life outside of that rock, allowing that weight to lift, those memories, those thoughts, those projections, because this I feel Spirit is telling me really negatively affected your self-worth and your self-concept and your feeling of being enough and that you're deserving of anything in this world. Look at the darkness of these two cards. It's just you were in a very dark time, like I said, literally in survival mode. Now, if you've come to the reading, the portal is opening for you to step through that threshold and move into your own power. So let's find out what that's going to look like for you, and if there's any advice Spirit can give on how to achieve that. For group 2, please. The beautiful souls in group 2 who have been through so much. Yeah, they're showing me the skulls here on the howl at your moon, process your feelings. They're saying death, transformation, die to that old self-image. Allow it to pass from you. Allow it to become just like, this is very strange, but they're showing me like expired food in your fridge, that you would just acknowledge this is expired and I can now discard it. I can toss it away. It is no longer me. It never was me. For a moment, I thought it was me. For a moment, I believed that. And now I can see that it is an illusion. It is false. It was a projection. It was fear. It was pain. It was hurt. And it was not me. And I was in the way. I was born into that situation, or I was in that situation, or I met somebody and I was manipulated or tricked or betrayed, and I became the target. I became the collateral damage of someone else's pain, and fear and hate and anger and projections. And they wrote on me. They're showing me like a whiteboard, and this person wrote on you, like not literally, but they literally were like, you are this or you are that. And it was projections, and you were this beautiful, pure, innocent, soul. And you were like, am I? Am I? Why am I here? Why am I in this situation? Why am I overlooking over here at this person and they have this loving, happy family? So what's wrong with me that I have this situation, that I have to suffer through this? I must not be good enough. I must not be worthy enough. No, your guides are saying you are an old soul. You came to experience challenge. You came to experience growth and pain and shadows and transformation that many souls are not ready in their path to take on yet. And you are that type of soul. From your eternal perspective, you knew exactly what you were doing and exactly the growth that you wanted to experience. But from a 3D perspective, it can feel like, why would I choose that? I would never choose that. And now this is not to say like, oh, you chose this pain and you chose, to be persecuted. It's not quite like that. It's heavily nuanced. I don't fully understand it myself. I think when we reincarnate, or reincarnate, what's the opposite of reincarnate? When we reverse incarnate and go back through the veil, and we no longer have our physical body, and we remember our wholeness as a soul, I think only then it's going to make sense. But I do know that souls have intentions, and they do choose certain paths and certain families or situations or dynamics to incarnate into in order to break change, in order to raise frequencies, in order to establish and plant certain codes, in order to transform and transmute heavy energies, like really heavy, dense energies. And if that was your experience, I don't know if that helps you or not, but Spirit's just bringing through that message. It doesn't mean those people are off the hook. Those people, those souls have their own journey and their own karma and their own things they're going to have to navigate. But from your perspective, let me grab those because I just threw them off. Oh, wow. Okay, look at this powerful energy. Purification, exactly what we're saying with this return to innocence and the purity before someone wrote on your soul, tried to. Miracles and transformation. With the skulls, I told you, the death card, it's that transformation. It's that dying to something expired. Your journey from... checking the camera. Your journey from survival to overflow is transformative, and it's miraculous. And it's full of this energy of you feeling, processing, validating yourself in your experience, having others validate yourself in your experience if you need to, through talk therapy or through specialists or through some sort of modalities. Because there should be no bypassing. It did happen, and it happened to you, and you should, at the very least, after everything you've been through, in my opinion, be allowed or encouraged or space held for you while you say to someone in a safe space, this happened to me and it felt this way and I felt this way and it felt horrible and I felt trapped, or I felt this, I felt that, or and have a trusted person of high integrity and ethical standing validate and say, this was not acceptable. This never should occur to a soul. That never should have happened to you, and we don't know why, and we can't explain, maybe from a spiritual perspective, but it is not okay. You did not deserve that. That was not your fault. That was not your fault. Whatever it is, there's some processing your feelings. So please, if there are things that you feel you don't have the tools to process, I would listen to your intuition, speak to a qualified professional. Certainly these pick a card readings are helpful for a holistic approach, but I am not a qualified therapist, and depending on your level of trauma and history and what happened, you may benefit. There's so many different modalities. If you don't resonate with traditional, psychotherapy or talk therapy, there's different modalities: emotional healing therapy, spiritual healing therapy, some safe place that you feel called to. If you haven't yet, you may have already processed this and already completed that. process. Not that it like leaves you, it changes you, but it is also part of who you are, and of the strength and the resilience and the warrior that emerged from that destruction and from that pain. And you're moving into not only I'm actually in awe that you not only got purification, you got transformation and miracles. Like, I would say three of the most powerful spiritually like loaded cards here. You're going to be literally, and for some of you I feel like you're already well on this path. Like, this is validation for you. Like, you're like, spirit sees me. This reader, she's picking up on what I went through, and that's because spirit wants you to know, like, we are with you the whole time. We see you, we're holding space for you, we're holding light for you, we're holding the frequency of who you really are, so that you can find yourself no matter how dark it gets. They're saying, if you found this reading, like, you're right on track. Like, you're right on track. You're doing exactly what you're meant to be doing. Your life is unfolding exactly how you meant it to. Maybe not in specifics, because we don't have specifics when we come here. We have general intentions. So whatever it is that you as a soul is desiring and creating as you're here, that path is unfolding. And now you're moving into, now is the time. The time has come. This is very similar to that reading that I did. Like I said, I'm just acknowledging that in case you were in that reading. And if this sounds like very similar, I feel the same thing as you. Very similar. So either there were souls there who didn't get that message. Sometimes my guides will split it into two, like an additional, if there's like a group who didn't receive that message, they'll reiterate it in the next reading. Or you're from that group and you found, that's why the same energy is here. You found the message that your guides are reiterating and saying, yes, you heard that correctly. You are moving out of that energy. We are discarding those unworthy, things that were put upon you, that feeling of unworthiness, and you are returning to a purity and innocence. That's the symbol of the sunflower, this purification. Now, one of the signs that you're shifting, that my guides are saying, will be rainbows here, butterflies, keys, and sunflowers. They're very clear. I didn't get that many signs for Pal 1. They had just the bells and the chimes, but this is very clear signs. Rainbows, keys, especially like those old-timey keys, but any type of key, butterflies representing you're going through a transformation time, and sunflowers representing purification and a return to innocence, which means you're releasing, you're cleansing, you're purging, you're receiving upgrades, you're receiving activations, you're receiving integrations, you're literally changing your frequency and your energetic state. Oh, look, there's 2 butterflies on this key. I just noticed. Look at that. I said that before I even realized. So things will be appearing before your eyes that maybe weren't visible to you. And it's like, they're showing me like a ball going down a hill. And like, you guys went so far down into that well because of the situation that you were in. You're going to, that ball bounces so much higher. So you're actually going to ascend to greater heights. Now that's whatever it means to you. It doesn't mean, oh, like now you're going to be, royalty and you're going to lord it over everyone, because your soul would never want that or do that. It's just that your frequency will raise. It's almost like, it's equality. It's almost like energetic fairness, in the sense of like, yes, you suffered more than most, but you will also ascend to higher heights than most souls will here, because your desire for peace and compassion and love and to feel your own power, it was so much stronger because of that contrast and because of that resistance that you experienced. You have energetically put so much more hopes and wishes and desires and intentions into the energetic ether, that as you align with that and you come into that remembrance of, and you answer the call of where your soul is saying, okay, yes, you were born from that, you came from that, and now you're becoming the phoenix. You were born of the ash, but don't forget to rise. Don't forget to rise. And as the phoenix transformed, don't forget to come into your majestic new alchemized form. Don't forget to now claim that you're an alchemist. Claim that you're a warrior. Claim you're a spiritual warrior. Like, don't forget that that now comes with that. Like, that comes with that. Like, they're showing me, it's like you, maybe your soul bought the what are they called? The tapillated? What the heckin' word is that? Like a broken down house, and it was like haunted with like cobwebs, and like the glass was broken and the porch was creaking, and there was rain coming in from the roof, had holes in the roof, the wallpaper was torn, it was dusty, musty, crusty, it was, and that's what you came into this incarnation with. And then over time, you energetically repaired that house. You healed that house. You restored that house with nurture and tender loving care, with your not giving up, with your faithfulness, with your determination, with your trust in the universe, with your pureness and your innocence, with your strength and your courage and your resilience and your persistence. You tended to that house. You nurtured that house. You repaired that house. You restored that house. And now the house is transformed, and it's a beautiful mansion, and it's sparkling, and it's bright, and it's exactly to your taste. There's a skylight exactly where you wanted it. The porch is exactly how you wanted it. It's painted exactly how you wanted it. And now Spirit is saying, don't forget to move into that house. Don't forget to claim that house now. That spiritual house, that energetic frequency is now yours, because you put the work in. You faced it in its state of disrepair. You faced it when it was shadowy and dark and there was no lights on. You lived in that house then. So don't forget, it is still your house, but now you have put in the work. You get to claim it. You get to live in it. You get to reap the rewards. If you want to sell it, if you want to upgrade it, if you want to benefit, if you want to invest in it, that's yours now to claim. And so to some, they may say, oh, that's a miracle. Look how your life was and look at how it is now. And you say a miracle. You say, no, I did that. I did that. That's not a miracle. That's the natural extension of me alchemizing this iron into coal, into diamonds, this sand into pearls. That's it appears to be a miracle. It appears to be a miracle. How could a pearl come from the grit of the sand? How can a diamond come from a piece of black stone, basically ash, whatever that is, whatever that magical process is? To others, they say that's a miracle. That's actually impossible. There's no way that could come from that. And your soul says, that's exactly the process that my soul came here to undergo. And now you are shifting through that threshold, through that doorway. That key is going into literally the door of that house, and you are opening it, and you're going to be experiencing this bloom, the fullness of you as the butterfly, the freedom. You can now fly. You're no longer trapped in the cocoon. You've done the time, you've done the work. That part is over. For the most part, I don't feel like any of you are still residing in that energy where you're feeling unsafe, or you're feeling still persecuted. Do you know what I mean? Whatever that situation was, I'm so sorry that that's the situation that you've been through. For the most part, I feel like you've already made the decision to move out of that, or you've moved out of that, and you're moving into this overflow. Now let's find out more about this overflow, because we found out a lot about what you've been through, and I want to really pump up and make bright the energy of the overflow so that you can see that beacon shining bright. Sometimes that's one part of it, right? Is the envisioning and the understanding and the identifying of the energy that you're now moving to, because the energy of the past can be so strong in our memories that sometimes we just reside in it instead of actively being able to shift out. You got to make it brighter. You got to focus on the vision of where you're going, of what you now are creating, of what you would prefer, of the life that you're stepping into. You got to make that bright. If you got to put 1,000 vision boards on every wall, if you got to write it in your phone, if you got to put screensavers, if you got to dream about it at night and meditate on it in the morning, if you got to talk about it, if you got to sound like you're delusional, to some people. You don't have to talk about it to others, but you could talk about it to yourself, talk about it to your guides, and say, this is what I'm creating. The love that I didn't have, I'll have the biggest love. So enormous, so compassionate, so adoring, so graceful, so kind, so trustworthy, so thoughtful, so loyal. If you didn't have money, I'll have all of the security that I need. I'll have everything that I've ever hoped for. I'll have what I need. I'll have things that I want. I'll have the freedom to give. I'll have the freedom to share. I'll have the freedom to enjoy life. If it's security, I'll have extra, I'll have more, I'll have safety, I'll have protection, I'll have places that I feel protected, I'll have people that I feel protected and safe around. Like, just milk it and make it as big, this vision of where you're going. Oh, okay, you keep getting so many that I don't think I can read that many. Can we just, your abundance energy is coming out. I put these in the wrong way. Can we get just a few cards, please, for group 2? From this deck. Okay, I see you. You got the Panther. Oh, this is one of my favorite cards. I've been waiting for this to come out. I haven't read it yet, but it just has such an intense energy for me. And you got, oh, the heart. Oh, I love that you got the heart. You got the lamb. Oh my gosh, I know the lamb's about innocence. Okay, I want to get you one more, they're saying. There's one more that didn't come out. Let me just get it quick and then we'll go through these. I love that these cards could not be more on point for what I'm reading. Like, Spirit is like, oof, coming through as always, but like really coming through here. What's the extra card? They said this one here. Okay. The monkey. Okay, I have no idea what that means. So we'll read that one. Okay. Now, the lamb, I know this has to do with purification and returning to innocence. I'm just going to read you the key words off of it because it's so your guys' energy. Spirit of innocence, be the light bearer. This is about reconnecting with your inner child. Yes, if your world has felt dark, you can be the light bearer. When you heal your inner child, you allow yourself to shine and expand that energy. Don't let your spirit become dry and gray. Reconnect with that feeling of bliss. See the world through the eyes of your inner child. Your innocence belongs to a sacred and fragile place in your heart, and you must protect that. This is about connecting with your inner child, feeling spontaneous, and experiencing joy. Now, like I said, you may not have got to experience that inner child feeling depending on what you, like you may never have got to feel like a child. You may be like, what does that feel like? Because it felt like terror to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to cry with the heaviness that I can feel some of you have been through. So we'll get more to that about what that means. The Panther is the main one that they want you to hear here. Spirit of vulnerability. You don't need to apologize for who you are. Spirit of the Panther says, let yourself be seen. It's time to love yourself and let people love you just the way you are. It's through this vulnerability that true love can be accessed. Yes, it is a risk because it means you allow people to see you fully, including the parts that you are ashamed of. And this can be scary. It's the only way to open yourself up for healing. By being vulnerable, you stop feeling sorry and apologizing for who you are. You start taking up space in a sincere and loving way. This healing expands to people around you. They will also feel safe. And we all need the safety of being able to be human without having to pretend we are perfect. This is feeling daring, vulnerable, honest, being intimate, forming genuine connections, and being authentic. Now, if you're out of balance with this, you may still be feeling shame, rejection, fearing intimacy, or feeling fake. Okay, this heavily has to do with, as you move into your overflow energy, healing through relationships, likely intimate relationships. This could be finding your soulmate, finding your partner, finding your spiritual counterpart, whatever you resonate with, and having that safe, vulnerable space where you can say, listen, I went through these heavy things. I've never been able to talk about them. I've never felt safe in relationships. I've never felt safe around anyone in order to open up and in order to let them love me through this pain, because you're going to have triggers, right? You're going to have things that you do where the right spiritual counterpart will hold space for you and literally physically hold you through that pain. And while you process these feelings, it's a beautiful transformative co-regulation type of experience. Now, this could be something that's coming into your overflow, side of reality, if that's something that you are interested in. And I want to read the monkey, and then I want to end with the heart, because I feel like this heart one is like main for you. Okay, the monkey says, spirit of inspiration. Ooh, I love this. You are an inspiration. For someone out there, you are the reason they keep trying. And it's not related to how much you do or don't do. It's simply you being you, authentic and passionate. You're doing your own thing, and you bring the most joy to the world. Spirit of the monkey is reminding you you're a vehicle for inspiration. When you align with your purpose and you become enthusiastic about life again, you will silently touch the lives of people you love and bring light into this world. That's again with the lamb holding this wand here, bringing your light back into the world. Try manifesting this energy into your life by feeding your mind with new experiences. Now listen to this. Sometimes inspiration is like a little child who simply wants to be surprised. There's that inner child coming back again. So if you've been feeling blocked, step away from the situation and do something else. When inspiration knocks, turn it into action. It can be a fleeting guest and leave unexpectedly, so don't waste its visit. This is about inspiring others, feeling inspired, bringing joy to the world, feeling enthusiasm, or experiencing high creativity. Okay, I'm going to get to the inner child thing after we read the heart. Sign of passion and desire. Find what sets your soul on fire. The heart says, always remember what is essential and what is sacred. It's easy for the path to become clouded with other people's words and desires, so you forget what makes you feel alive. That could be the beginning part of your life. The heart on fire is a powerful sign. It reminds you, look inside yourself again. What sets your soul on fire? What makes you burst into dance and a smile when no one sees you? Align with that feeling. Listen, you are not too late. You are not too old. There is time and opportunity. As long as your heart keeps beating, explore a new hobby, start a new career, a new job, a new talent, a new love, and if necessary, a whole new life. Please do not let your heart lose its fire. This is about finding your power to manifest, experiencing joy, desiring, feeling excitement. That's come out twice now. Feeling joy and enthusiasm. Okay, so you're moving from out of survival mode and into overflow strongly is centered on your ability to reactivate that innocent inner child, that feeling of enthusiasm about life again, and letting the hardness that your heart has had to have, that protective coating, start to soften. They're showing me hard candle wax, and it starts to soften as that fire in your heart literally starts again. This can be like going to the corner store and getting yourself an ice cream, a popsicle, maybe something that you never got to do, and sitting on the curb and sitting in the sun and just enjoying it and listening to the birds chirp. This could be about following a new passion or a new hobby that you didn't have like the confidence to do before, and being like, you know what, F it, I got one life to live. I'm going to go do this. Even if there's no one there, I'm going to this dance class. Even if I don't know anybody, even if I'm the only person, even if I'm the oldest person, even if I'm the youngest person, even if I'm whatever, I'm going to go, even if I look like a fool, and I'm going to put my whole heart into it, and I'm just going to do it because it's something that my heart wants and it calls to me. Going to, like, a dance, what are they called, club or party or something on a Friday night, just going alone and just, you don't know anyone, and just dancing your socks off just for the pure joy of it. This could be starting your own garden, or starting your own practice, or starting a new career, or starting some sort of creative thing. This is literally allowing your inner child, which is the innocent, pure you that's still within you, that says, let's take the morning off and go and, drive to that thing I've always wanted to see, that farm, or that, stable, or that whatever it was that's always kind of been on your heart. Or it could be very fleeting in the moment, like it said, inspiration. I'll give you an example. Like this weekend, I work a lot because my work is my passion, now. That's not always been the case. And so I enjoy it. So I feel very like my creative spark, like, you know what I mean? It's one and the same. So I'm happy to do that. This is not my only thing. I don't know what to call it, job, work, whatever. I have other things. So I'm always got my hand in something in the day, but I don't often just do, nothing. But on the weekend, my my friend suggested, let's go get ice cream. And then my daughter said, yeah, let's go find all of the swings in town, like all of the swing sets, because she loves swinging. And I was like, oh my gosh, let's do that. And we literally went and got ice cream and then drove around on this sunny day and found all of the parks in town that had swing sets. And we rated them all. Like, this is 10 out of 10. This is 9 out of 10. And it was so much fun. It was such an inner child moment. We just literally ate ice cream and swang on the swings all day. And I never slept better in my life because the fresh air and the sun and the activity, it was just so fun and simple. We literally just hung out at parks and playgrounds and put our feet in the sand and on the grass and just did silly, goofy things and tried different jumping off and teasing each other. And it was just like an incredible time. It's that type of energy where, but the thing is, I remember feeling, I almost wanted to say, oh, we'll do that on another day because I had things planned. And my guides were like, this feeling of inspiration, it is sometimes fleeting because the three of you were available. My friend was available. My daughter was not at school. It was the weekend. I was not working. And I was like, you know what? These moments don't always come around. If I put this off, I may not ever be able to recreate this. And so I followed it and I cleared my day. And it was so worth it. It reinvigorated my soul. You know what I mean? And it's going to be that type of inspiration. It may not be one big thing. It may be shifting into this energy in your life that you now have that wonder again, no matter what your age. You're seeing life through that pure inner child again, and maybe that is very healing for you because that may have been taken from you. Your childhood may have been robbed from you. Quite frankly, maybe you had to work from a young age. Maybe you were just filled with such fear and anxiety that you never got to experience. Maybe you had no opportunity or any guardianship or parents who allowed you to have those type of experiences. And now you're coming into a time with this overflow where you're going to remother and reparent yourself, where you're going to say to yourself, what is it you want to do today, baby? We're going to do whatever you want to do today. You want to get a popsicle? Let's go. You want to go swimming? Let's go. You want to draw? Let's go. You want to paint? Let's go. You don't have paints? Let's go. We'll go to the store. We'll get you what you need. Like, you're just going to give yourself what you weren't given and what you should have been given. And you're going to have such healing from that. In addition to, I do feel strong partnership coming up here. You have a double rainbow. You have the two wolves howling at the moon here. And with the key and the burning heart, it really sometimes all of those can point towards relationship or partnership, or like I said, spiritual counterpart. I do feel a lot of healing coming through from healthy, intimate relationships and from you reparenting yourself and giving your own inner child what you didn't have. And both of those being this beautiful, there's a rainbow here behind the monkey. Oh, I didn't even notice that. One of your signs was rainbow, and you have a rainbow on the monkey card with a 4-leaf clover. It's this, the overflow is going to feel, there may be financial things and all of that, and maybe you already have that. I don't feel like a strong pentacle energy here. I feel this is heavy water energy. This is heavy cups. This is emotional healing and repair. This is nervous system regulation. This is restoration. This is transformation. This is realignment with who you really are and stepping into the fullness of your soul and the fullness of the experience that your soul came here to experience. Finally, at this point in your life, you step through this doorway and it's like you're living the life that you intended, even though, your soul had these other intentions. But now that you've moved out of that shadow energy into the light, and this releasing and this processing and this journey that you've been on, and this purification where you feel new again, even with the burning heart, with the angel wings, that's a purification energy, and your light begins to shine again. Now, one thing before I close off this reading that they did bring up was twice here. It was your light shining and inspiring others. It's quite possible that you've been feeling the nudge, or you're already on the path of, or it starts to come up about sharing your story and your experience with others in order to inspire and help and guide them. Often people who have been through, very dark, traumatic times or energies or spaces, they're adding to the collective healing and raising of that frequency by sharing their story with others, and by helping others not feel alone, and by shining a light on things, and by helping to bring forward change. Because it more awareness that is shone on these situations, the more that those ancestral chains are broken, and that the future generations, it's becomes something that they don't even know. It's not even in their realm and their frequency. It's the level of consciousness has raised, and it becomes essentially a new earth, which means that there's things that fall away that will no longer be in people's reality. In our future generations won't, thank God, be part of their experience anymore, because the consciousness of the planet will raise, and it will raise to a point where certain frequencies and dimensions basically fall off or fall away or become dormant. And you, I feel, are a huge part of that. That's why you came here. And that may be part of this. You may, create a foundation, or create a support group, or create a practice, or create some sort of counseling, or just share your story through written word, or through art, or through, posts, or some sort of platform where you say, hey, I want to share what happened to me, and I want to share the hope that I now have, and I want to share how I got through that, so that if someone else hears this who is in the place where I was, I can be a light, like a lighthouse, like a beacon, guiding them to where I know what you're going through, and I know where I am now, and I'm giving you hope, and you're not alone. That could be part of this if that resonates for you. So beautiful, beautiful soul. You have been through so much. Your guides are so delighted that you're moving into, and the time has come on your soul's journey for you to embrace and claim this mansion that you've built, that house they showed at the beginning. Oh yeah, and you have the key. I don't know how I didn't make that connection. Wait, did I say that then? But yeah, I must have. You have the key going into the door of this restored, beautiful, renovated, transformed. That could also be metaphorically, or that could be literally. Maybe you also are going to be blessed with a new home, or are buying a new home, or moving into a new space, because that's also here too. But I'm very excited for you to move into this beautiful inner child transformed energy, for the relationships that are going to be on your path, for the miracles that are coming your way. You're a beautiful soul. You're a beautiful heart. Thank you for being here. I feel blessed and honored to have read for you. If you did feel called to another group, I'll see you there shortly. And if not, I'll see you in another reading on another day. Bye. Hi, group 3. Welcome to your reading. You have card 61 with the Gate. So let's begin your reading about from survival to overflow. Now that can mean whatever that means to you. That can be physical abundance, financial abundance, health, wealth, prosperity, a happiness, a love, whatever feeling of overflow means to you. So let's begin with reading the Gate. I'm very curious. I've never read this one. Sign of an opening portal. Welcome to the unknown. Gates are a beautiful symbol. They mean there is a boundary approaching. And at the same time, their beauty and mystery tempt you to cross. It's like the universe showing you a door into the unknown, but at the same time telling you, if you dare to go beyond what's known to you, something extraordinary is bound to happen. This is a sign from your spirit guides that you need to make a transition, spiritually or physically, that there is movement happening in your life. Gates are also a connection between the conscious and unconscious world, so watch carefully for your dreams. This omen can mean there is something in your unconscious world that is trying to send you a message. On the other hand, this sign can also mean you need to be cautious or approach a certain situation with caution, so pay attention when your energy is high and vibrant. If you're in balance with this energy, you're opening portals, you're connecting to the unconscious, you're having vivid dreams, you're moving with ease and precaution. If you're out of balance, you're avoiding signs, having nightmares or insomnia, you're being reluctant to move, or you're feeling reckless. Okay, definitely in alignment with this energy here, with this moving through survival mode into overflow. You have rainbows here and the two skulls, so this could be transformative energy. So okay. Let's do this deck. For group 3, please show us all about their journey from survival to overflow. What can you tell us about this energy of the gate? Yeah, I heard move through the gate. Okay, so that sounds kind of obvious, but maybe you are at a particular doorway, like, should I do this? Should I start this new beginning? Going forward. Okay. I love that that came out because they literally said move through the gate, move forward. Okay, so part of this moving from survival to overflow requires you to literally step through some sort of gate into a new beginning, move forward from something. So if there's something that you need to release or that you're not sure if you should let go of, but that you know you've been getting the impulse and the intuitive hits to, something that you're like, I don't know how to start, I don't know where to go. If there's something you're feeling called towards, if there's a door, like a new job, a new relationship, a new home, a new state of being, a new health routine, there's something that's saying this new behavior and new action and new choice, this new decision would move you into this overflow energy out of survival. But you've got to step through the gate. You've got to move forward and leave the past behind. Going forward literally means move forward, step ahead, keep going. Don't stay in something that feels like empty or old or stagnant or like it's heavily ridden with the past energy. What else for group 3, please? I do have a mild headache in this group, which can sometimes just indicate insights or downloads coming through your crown chakra that are like feeling blocked or feeling resistant to. So maybe you are getting insights, but you're not quite open to them yet, or you're not sure how to translate them or what they mean, or you're not sure how to do what you feel you're being called to do. It's not always like so easy, right? For group 3, please, what else do you want to show them? Okay, they said nothing else from this deck, but they do want to move back to this deck. For group 3, please. Into overflow, out of survival mode. What does that look like for them? I heard it looks like temporary chaos. So this could be like, you know, when we have to move up and pack our home up, it can be temporarily very chaotic. Excuse me. Oh, intuition. Okay, that's what I said. So this is where I'm getting a headache, right where this the moon symbol is on this figure's third eye. So there is something you're being intuitively nudged or downloaded that you may or may not be open to or receiving or have heard yet, or maybe you have heard it, but you, like I said, you don't exactly know what to do. What other cards do you want here? There's a couple different decks that I got for the other groups. You are getting a lot of channeled messages. That's also why I get a headache if a lot of information's coming through my 6th and 7th chakras, and that's sometimes why the cards aren't as active, if it's more channeled messages. And just see if there's anything they want here. Nope. Okay. What am I missing? This deck? So you may be feeling how I'm feeling. You may be feeling like you're asking for answers because the energy always shows up in the reading of what I'm picking up on. So you maybe feel like you're asking for answers, you're looking for clarity, maybe you're doing card readings, maybe you're listening to card readings and you're like, I'm not getting anything. I feel like I'm trying to tune into my intuition and it's like a big blank screen. Like, what do you want me to do? So how can they more keenly tune into clarity? What are they missing here? What are we missing? I heard activate your third eye chakra. I don't even know. How would you do that? Like, is it not always active? Maybe it's blocked? I heard pineal gland. Maybe look that up if there's a way to activate your third eye chakra and your pineal gland. Pineal gland? Pineal gland? Okay, you got the Swan, card 30 coming out. And, okay, okay. They're like, you're being too impatient, because I can feel the energy, right? So I'm doing the same thing as you. I'm like, hey, just give me more answers, give us more answers. And they're like, just chill. Just slow down. Let it come in the right timing. What is the rush? If you rush, you're going to miss things. So let's read the Swan and take it one step at a time, because there is some sort of tempered pace to your reading. So I have to respect that. The Swan, spirit of serenity. The first line says, are you rushing from one thing so you can get to the next thing? Bruh. I kid you not, it says that. Okay, it says there's no use living a life where you are not present. Are you rushing from one thing so you can get to the next thing? You are going to rush through. And when do you stop? When do you get there? What does that even look like? Oh my gosh, this is hilarious. Okay, we just got called out by spirit. The spirit of the Swan comes, because I'm doing the same thing in the reading, because I'm tuning into your energy. So I'm like, yeah, well, give us the answers, give us more. What's next? What's next? What's next? What's after the Swan? What's after intuition? You know, and they're like, you haven't even read the Swan yet. The spirit of the Swan comes to you today and reminds you, find your serenity in the present moment. Imagine a swan gliding gracefully over the water while its feet are constantly paddling below the surface. It's using its energy wisely to propel itself in the right direction while the rest of its being remains calm. In the same way, serenity doesn't mean lack of movement, it means efficiency and grace. When you focus your energy and don't let it dissipate through anxiety or overthinking, you can conquer so much more with less effort. Okay, I already see what your overflow is going to look like. Worrying won't make things happen faster, but it will wear down your spirit. You won't get too far with an agitated mind. Take a breath, organize your thoughts, be in the moment. As you calm your spirit, the answers you seek will start to flow from your heart, and things will start unfolding with ease. If you're in balance with this energy, you're finding serenity, surrendering, being present, enjoying life, and you're living in the moment. If you're out of balance, you're dwelling in the future or the past, you have an agitated mind, you've lost the ability to enjoy life, or you have fear of missing out. Okay, this energy came up now, I'm remembering, I think in 2 readings ago, where these were the resonant cards, this Alchemy of Spirit deck. So you may be, I'm going to put this here, you may be from that pile, or you might have messages there. So let's take a deep breath. Spirit wants to just like demonstrate the energy that you're moving into the overflow would feel like. So let's take a deep breath together if you're willing. Just let it all out. And again. And then you can feel that space that comes into the moment. Feel how nice it feels to breathe fresh air on purpose and oxygenate your body, and you get that crisp feeling of clarity and you come alive. And you feel your eyes and your jaw and your forehead unclench. Okay. Your shifting from survival to overflow has deeply to do with shifting how you approach life. It's moving from the hustle, grind, high productivity, high doing, to-do lists into a more intuitive state of flow. If you've never been in a flow state, then you probably don't understand what I'm talking about. If you have been in a flow state, then you know what you're reaching for. Being in a flow state is this beautiful, trusting energy that whatever is most important for your soul to experience, even practically, this can have to do with bills and errands and chores, but in the most enjoyable ease, feeling of easeful peaceful, sense of fulfillment way. You allow your soul and your guides to direct your day, from what you eat to what task you choose next, instead of going about it from a control perspective, which is like, wake up, do a to-do list, what's the most important things. Maybe you're using certain books and like methods that you've learned, which, listen, things can be very helpful in the moment that you need them, and then sometimes you shift out of that energy. So sometimes you might have learned things or read things about how to be productive or effective or get a lot done, and maybe you needed that tool in the moment, or maybe it's a part of the pillars, that you're building in your life. But maybe now it's time to incorporate and inject some of that temperance, some of that balance, some of the ease and flow. So maybe you do a to-do list, but maybe you do it after meditating, or you will ask spirit to guide the to-do list. So it's not just coming from your, 3D lower mind. It's coming from your higher mind, and you say, higher self, let's do this to-do list together. What would be the best order of this priority for me? What are the things that I should make sure I incorporate today? Because you'd be surprised what a life of overflow would prioritize. It's usually rest, meditation, enjoyment, pleasure, bliss, and growth. It's rarely like the things that we would put first. Now, it doesn't mean that those things aren't going to happen, but it means that it happens in a way that there's also enjoyment. It's allowing a broader experience from your higher perspective in, as opposed to like a narrower aperture of just doing the task. I really strongly feel like part of your shift from survival mode, where you feel like there's not enough hours in the day, you're probably always exhausted, your nervous system is probably wrecked, you're probably super stressed out, maybe your sleep is affected, or else you never get enough sleep, like you just knock right out as soon as you go to sleep, but it's like you never feel rested. You could feel like you're just hamster wheeling, trying to keep up with things, and you're shifting from letting go of something that is kind of, you need to leave behind, basically. It could be methods or routines, it could be a situation or a relationship or a job or something, moving forward and moving through the gate into an intuitive state of being, which is living from intuition, which is asking yourself in every moment, what does my body want to choose to eat now? How does my body want to move? Do I need to move? I think this state of being and living from this state of self-awareness and led from a higher perspective is so underrated and underutilized. Like, I think whole books should be about this. Let me check the camera. And personally, I've only begun to experience and live from this way. Like, spirits brought this to my attention like really recently, so I can speak a little bit on it, but it's different for everybody. But you might have seen some YouTube shorts. I've started to see some shorts crop up. I'm not on like TikTok, or it's probably on TikTok too, but where you see the person and they're like cleaning the dishes, like, and they're like cleaning the counter, and they're like eating the food, and they have to keep saying to themselves, slow down, like it's not a race, like, because we're so stuck in this, like the swan, like paddling, the hamster wheel, that even when there's nothing urgent, we are just, our bodies are performing tasks in this really rigid, fast moving way with like blinders on, like we're just like greyhounds, like running down the track, instead of the dog that like sniffs everything at the park and kind of goes around and explores. And there's some energy here or encouragement that you can step through this gate into a new routine, into a new way of being, where you're deeply led from a state of peacefulness. And even though, like the swan, they're paddling under the water there, they're getting things done, they're going somewhere, but their being is peaceful. They're feeling serene, they're ease, they have grace, they're in a flow state. I saw a swan at the pond the other day, and I was laughing because there was two of them, and it was literally like this energy. One of the swans was so chaotic, and the swan was like, like looking all around, and its head was going all around, and it was like grooming itself, and then it was drinking the water, and then it was like fluttering its wings. It was so agitated. And the other swan, because they're typically in pairs, was so graceful. And it was like literally not moving. It was just gliding, and it was just staring straight ahead. It was so at peace. And I thought, like, even in a swan, you can see these two states of being, you know, and I was like, this is obviously a couple, and one is like the spaz, and the one is like, you know, in a state of ease. But it's so telling because it can also be those two states within us, right? And I think that's what your reading is about, is finding balance with those two states within you. And I think you may be ready to move from the agitated swan into the swan that's more at peace, because it's not about appearances. It's not about appearing graceful. This has nothing to do with that. It's about your inner world feeling more enjoyable, less anxiety, less worry, less burden, less planning. You have a trust that your guides and your higher self will project to you if you need to do something, if you need to call, you know, the dentist to rebook an appointment, if you need to add something to your grocery list. Your guides are great, and ancestors, for practical advice. I would say I use them for that mostly through the day. Like, they'll remind me of things, they'll show me things, they'll, you know, give me tips on things. Like, you might want to call that in now because there won't be a line, or you might want to, you know, go now because it'll save time or money or whatever. So I personally stopped doing lists unless I'm feeling like anxious or overwhelmed. Then I find dumping it out on a piece of paper helps, but I usually don't refer to the list or need the list. That's almost just like a self-care practice sometimes, to like mind dump everything. Otherwise, your guides and your spirit team, like your ancestors, will just support you, and they'll push to you through your intuition downloads of things. If you're forgetting something, if you're at the store and you needed milk, or you didn't realize you were out of milk, they'll just push to you, maybe grab some milk. And as you start to trust those intuitive nudges, you start to feel this trust and this release, because you feel held. You realize you're not all alone. You don't have to remember everything. You don't have to know the best way of doing everything. You can trust on the inner guidance that you're getting from a team of support, of angelic, ethereal support, who has the higher perspective, who can see what's going to happen tomorrow and what would be advantageous for you to do now. To see that maybe you're going to have more on your plate tomorrow, so you really need to take that rest now, or to see that you're going to have less on your plate tomorrow, so maybe do this now. You know, you're going to start to rest in that knowing that you're not alone, and you don't have to do it all alone, that you're supported basically by how the swan is buoyant on the water. The water is your spirit team, and you're buoyant on this. You're not going to sink to the bottom if you don't keep up yourself. You're already held. So there's a big message here about that. Okay, what other cards do you want here for group 3? Let's get some from this Astro deck for you. What else do you want to tell group 3 about this moving from survival mode into overflow? Yeah, if you are having headaches, those will subside. That's running too much mental energy. Of course, make sure you get things checked with a medical professional if there's anything out of the ordinary or anything super uncomfortable. But if you do just get mild headaches, those are tension headaches. That's the feeling of too much going through your source energy, through your airspace, and not having a release, or not having a point of focus. It's an overwhelm in your mental space. That's when I get a headache. If you want a tip for headaches, I mean, this may help or not. You may be like, obviously, lady, I've done this before. But for me, if I just lay down and I give myself permission to rest, even for 2 minutes, if I start to get a headache, and I put any cold compress, like if I use a gua sha on my head, or a cold towel, or a cold face mask, it instantly goes away. And I use the same thing for my daughter. It's something about the cooling off of that space plus the rest. Try that and see if that helps. Okay, let's take these 2 for you guys. Okay, you got the first house, and you got Gemini. This came out in group 1 also, if you're from there. So let's read these for you. So the first house having to do with Aries, Mars, fire, creativity, the realm of the South, the self. You are in the spotlight now, and you need to take full advantage of it. If you're naturally extroverted, this will be a walk in the park. But if you're more of an introvert, you may struggle with having all eyes on you. Be aware this won't last forever, so do your best to get to use this energy to get ahead. The concept of fake it till you make it is tied to this first house. We all have different masks we need to put on from time to time to get through the day, and there is no shame in that, but use what resources you have is a smart move. Okay, very interesting. The realm of the self, and then you have Gemini, which reads, your ability to adapt to new situations is going to be your greatest strength right now. A wave of change is coming your way, and at times you may feel like there isn't progress, but there is. Sometimes staying afloat is the goal. That's funny because of the swans. Life isn't always about getting from point A to B. You'll need to rely on your networking and social skills to get something done in the near future. So Gemini is here to give a little nudge in that direction. Evaluate the connections you have. Are you maintaining them? Are you offering something or just taking? People remember these interactions. Okay, and that's the air element. So that could have to do with the headaches and the overthinking and stuff like this. So as you move into this overflow, it sounds like there's some situation where you might have a lot of eyes on you, and this could, maybe you're moving into a leadership position, maybe you're starting a new job, maybe you're getting a promotion, maybe you're putting yourself out there on a platform or becoming your own boss, and you're going to kind of be the face of your company or your brand or something like this. There's something here about as you move from this, it is like a mask, but it's like a good mask. It's like making sure that the face that it's not even a mask, but it's like making sure that the image that you present is the one that you want to present, aka your higher self, the highest expression of you, the most expanded expression of you. It's kind of like, have you ever had that experience where you're just in a bad mood or you're rushed and you meet someone new, or you meet your, kid's teacher, or you meet, a new representative at your place of worship, or, like there's something where you weren't expecting to kind of be on display or be, introduced. And then after you think, oh gosh, I wish I had have been more centered. I wish I had have had my best foot forward in that interaction, because I feel like I was a little cranky, or I feel like they might have feel like I was rushed, or I was, kind of in a low mood, or and you realize like, oh, Gemini, I have different sides of me. I have different faces. I have the one where I feel rushed and kind of like frustrated, maybe annoyed, maybe I'm more irritable. And then I have the one where I feel happy and I'm serene. And that's all of us. Like, that's human nature. Like, we have our shadow and light selves. But there's something about, as you shift out of the survival mode, reassessing if image is not the right word, but like the self that you lead with, and kind of finding this authentic expression of yourself, and allowing your duality to kind of like, they keep showing me the swan, how it's paddling under the water, but the surface of the swan is this beautiful, graceful, serene presence. Like, if you're in a leadership role, or if you're the leader of your household, or if you're in a friend group, or if you're whatever it is, like on display in some way with this first house, something about your overflow being tied to kind of changing your tune and being aware of what you're projecting out there. It may just be the smallest tweak, where you take a deep breath before you start, where you smile as you're speaking. Like, I've noticed, I'll play back my recordings, and if I'm not smiling, you can't see me, right? But if I'm not smiling to myself when I start recording, my tone is so different. Like, I'll be like, oh, hi, welcome to Frequency Intuitive. And even though in my head it sounded like upbeat, it doesn't come across that way. And I'm like, oh, I have to remember to smile, like put on my, my most authentic, best energy. And if I'm not in that energy, if I'm feeling tired or exhausted or not ready to film, then to wait and take a step back and go meditate or get a drink or take a rest. Because this is a platform, and obviously I want to put my most authentic, highest self out there, not the one that's overwhelmed or rushed or frantic. And listen, we're not perfect. So sometimes it's not about, like, I don't want this message to come out, or Spirit doesn't want this message to come out thwarted. This is not about faking it. Didn't we read something about fake it till you make it? Was that this pile? Oh yeah, the first house. They don't want you to feel like you have to fake it or not be yourself, but it's about choosing who you are and choosing the state of being that you want to be in consciously. It's about having awareness and recognizing I have light aspects and I have shadow aspects. And when I'm dealing with this person or on this platform or in this whatever, I want to be authentic and, my most authentic self, but I also want to be in a frequency and an energy where I can have positive, uplifting influence. And if I'm not in that energy, then having that awareness and taking some time to self-nurture and refill my cup. It's more about having an awareness of when you're shifting in and out of those two energies. And if you want to kind of limit, any negative effects that might have. This could just be about being a parent or being a partner. Like, you have to know yourself. Like, I'll say to, like, I have, very intense emotions. And I get overstimulated very easily. And if I'm getting overstimulated, like I've had to be out in public or I've been like, having a lot of energy come my way, I will have to say to my daughter, my battery is on red. I need to eat. I need to take a little quiet time. Like, I need to meditate. I need to purge or release, like have a shower or go for a walk. And then I would love to go and play with you and do this, because otherwise I know that I will be entering into that moment with her as a depleted version of myself because I have to refill my cup first. Of course I tend to her needs if she needs something to eat or something like this, but I'm very authentic with explaining to her the energy that I'm in because I believe that we need to teach people this. And I think it's healthy to show our kids, like, sometimes you're not going to be feeling great and that's not the time to go and socialize. And unless that fuels you, you have to know yourself essentially, if you need quiet time or if you need social time, like whatever fills your cup. But there's something here about knowing when you're in those two energies and how to move in and out of them. So that it's to your benefit, because as you move into this overflow, you're going to be much more intuitively led, and you're going to be, for some reason, like on display or having a lot of people looking up to you. So let's find more about this overflow, because I feel like it's kind of a little bit mysterious. I'm not getting like that much information as I did for the other piles yet about it. So can you tell us, let's do this deck. They're saying, can you tell us, oh, hold on a second. Okay, I hadn't even shuffled, but we'll take those. Can you tell us about the overflow? Oh, for pile, you got abundance. No one has got an actual abundance card yet, so you're the first one. I swear this has to do with like a job promotion or something. For group, oh, they said that's enough. Okay, so you got sneaky person coming out, 42, a person with a questionable moral compass. I always say like that rat-like energy. You got abundance coming out, card 33, financial security and material gains. And what are these two that popped out at the beginning? Epiphany, card 16, and treasure. Wow. Okay, you got two pentacle cards, but look, it even says protect your energy and space, which is exactly what we were just talking about. Card 27. Treasure, protect your energy and space. Abundance, financial security, material gains. Card 16. Epiphany, cycles repeat until the lesson is learned. Now, you have going forward here, and I'm putting it with this card 42, sneaky person, something about your survival mode that you're coming out of. I feel like it has to do with protecting your energy and space from people or a person who really tried to bring you down or who really put you in a negative energy or really kind of like made you agitated or gave you a lot of anxiety, because we talked about releasing something here, and then you got the protect your energy and the sneaky person. So if you know who that is, someone with a questionable moral compass, maybe someone with narcissistic tendencies or baiting or antagonistic tendencies, maybe someone just with very negative perception, always trying to poke holes in things or tear you down or question you, or just drain your energy. It could be a friend who's constantly calling and dumping on you but never giving anything back. There's something that you do need to release here as you move out of the survival mode into the overflow, because you have an epiphany moment. Cycles repeat until the lesson is learned. And I feel like as you're coming into this new thing, there's clearly a gate in this. Piles 1 and 2 were not like this. They had different things that were their overflow. This pile, if you're resonating, clearly has to do with a door opening into something. It's like a promotion, a job, moving somewhere, a new home, a new relationship, like maybe a marriage or some sort of commitment, maybe a partnership, maybe some sort of, like I said, new job or new role or new platform. It's literally saying, I'm starting in this new thing. And you open this gate and you step into it. And this is about how your overflow will come from this epiphany moment where you say, I'm not going to continue to repeat these hustle, grind, rush through life, letting my energy be drained by negative or sneaky people or manipulative people. I'm going to really allow my routine and my day to be guided from my higher perspective, from my higher self. I'm going to make sure that the image that I'm projecting and the self that others are seeing and interact with is the highest expression of me, the most expanded version of me. And if I'm paddling under the surface because there's things that I got to do and I got to stay afloat and I got to keep up and I got to pay bills, then so be it. But I'm going to do that in a way that exemplifies grace and ease and openness and flow, because I will get further if I'm in the flow of life and if I'm in the flow of being on the same page and in alignment with my higher perspective and with my higher self. That will bring me treasure. That will bring me this abundance. That will bring me this feeling of grace and ease where I'm moving with literal lightness from each task, from task to task, from thing to thing, from conversation to conversation, and I'm not allowing to feel drained. You're going to have strong boundaries, they're showing, because I feel like it might be something where you're in communication with a lot of people, and you can sometimes come across those people who like don't have good intentions or don't who want to take or who are draining, and you're going to have strong boundaries and say, I have to stay on my purpose, I have to stay in my flow, that's very important to me, I have to keep my cup full. So so lovely to meet you, but I'm going to have to close off this interaction or whatever it is, or I'm not able to work with you at this time or whatever it is for you. But your overflow is you're coming into your flow. Your overflow is you're coming into ease, flow, serenity, peace as you take on this new challenge or this new project or this new career or this new promotion or this new leadership position, whatever it is. It could be parenthood, or it could be partnerhood, it could be, like I said, moving house, because didn't they say something about chaos? Was that you guys, or was that group 2 at the beginning? Change coming through chaos, or chaos first? I think that was you guys. It could be like packing things up and moving somewhere, moving overseas or anything like this. But it's going to be very financially successful, and you're going to find your energy is so much more steady and stable. You're less anxious, you're more guided, you're more intuitively led. You rest your head on your bed at night and you're like, that was a good day. I felt in control, but I felt in control from a higher perspective. Not like I'm trying to, exert control and kind of insert it into my life. I felt like I allowed myself to be led and guided from a higher perspective, and now I have ease and satisfaction and peace with the decisions that I made, with how I went about my day, with the impact and influence that I had. And I think it's going to be very financially successful for you. Because like I said, you're the only group that got literal coins, a bag of coins and a treasure chest. So there's some treasure here from an emotional perspective and from a financial perspective that is here waiting for you through this gate. Really, really cool reading. Thank you so much for being here and allowing me to read for you. All the best with this, whatever this is, this new opportunity. It definitely feels like a new opportunity, stepping into some sort of new life. All the best with this. You can definitely do this and have that epiphany, moment, and kind of approach this in a different way. If you did feel called to a different reading, you're more than welcome to check out another group. And if not, I will see you in another video on another day. Bye. Hi, group 4. Welcome to your reading. You have card 58 with the Fountain. So let's read from the guidebook to find out all about your journey from survival to overflow, survival mode to overflow. Now, overflow can mean whatever it means to you that you would like an overflow of: time, love, energy, wellness, of financial abundance, It's whatever that is that calls to your heart. So the fountain, I have never read. I don't think I have. And it says, sign of joy and excitement. The wellspring of blessings is infinite. Hello, overflow. This is literally overflow. Water is literally overflowing from this fountain. The fountain is a sign of joy. It's a message for your inner child. Come out and play. Just as there are moments to be serious, there are also moments to play and be silly. Order and discipline are necessary, but so are pleasure and delight. I feel like there was a pile that literally got the card pleasure and delight. I don't remember which one. You don't need to be productive all the time, and you don't need to turn every hobby into a business. Take time to find an activity that is purely done for enjoyment without you having to be the best at it. Play, laugh, feed your imagination, keep your spirit young and excited. Connect with the essence of joy because it is the fountain of inspiration for your dreams. If you're in balance with this energy, you're listening to your inner child, experiencing joy, and experiencing a heightened imagination, feeling fun. If you're out of balance with this, you might feel too serious, lacking imagination, or feeling sad or jaded. Isn't it interesting how, like, accessing a feeling of fun and joy can be one of the most challenging things we experience? Like, you'd think it would be, like, so easy and obvious, but it's sometimes a really difficult energy to shift into. It can feel very unfamiliar. There can be a lot tied to that, like worthiness issues, like just feelings of the expectation of society, looking down on that. So let's find out for you what this overflow obviously sounds like right off the hop. It's about experiencing more pleasure, delight, that surprise, feeling of surprise, and feeling like enthusiastic and excited and like, wow, I didn't know that my day was going to go like that. And like, wow, this is like wonders and miracles all around me. And there's interesting things all around me. It's enjoying your life again. That feeling of overflow of just feeling good. Like, for Christ's sake, feeling good. That's what it is. Please tell us for group 4 what they're going to be experiencing as they shift out of this survival mode. Now, this shifting out of survival mode you could be anywhere on the spectrum of that. You could be deep in the thick of it. It could be far in your past. It could be you're shifting out of it in the moment. You're transitioning out of an old life and releasing something. Wherever you are, this overflow is waiting for you on the other side of this threshold. You could be starting to experience it now. That could be why you were drawn to this reading. Yeah, I just heard Fountain of Joy. This card came out. I heard Wellspring of Youth, whatever that means. Oh, not thrive. I see Thriving. Okay, let's stop there. You got 4 cards. You got Simplicity, Thriving. I'm so happy that card came out. Freedom, dang, and Voyage. Ooh, okay. You could be traveling. Okay, wow. Everything that I would have hoped would come out for you came out. Let's review it again, because you got Freedom, Thriving, Simplicity, and Voyage. I think your overflow is going to be about having the freedom of time and resources to really sink into those simple moments in life. Because ironically, we don't always have the time to sink into those moments, right? To just sit and enjoy the sunrise or the sunset, because you got to get up for work and you got to get the kids to bed and you got to, like, other things get in the way. But there's going to be something here about you shifting into this energy of having the freedom of time and financial resources in order to be able to enjoy some more of the things that life has to offer. But it's coming from a very simple place. I don't really feel like you're going to be accumulating a lot. I feel like you will just feel stable in what you have. You could already be financially stable, or there could be financial stability coming to you, or that you're already experiencing. But I feel like this has to do with bringing things back to the simplicity of life, where you literally just begin to enjoy your simple meal in front of you, a good conversation with friends. They're showing me having one of those meals or coffees with friends or a group of friends where you feel so uplifted after, and you're like, why don't I see these people more often? We laugh till we're crying. The simplicity of having a beautiful romantic connection, the simplicity of an interaction with your children or grandchildren, and playing make-believe or being silly or just laughing or just doing goofy things. The simplicity literally of just being in nature and having the time and the freedom to do that and the access to it. And you will feel this glow, like this giraffe here, this thriving, this raising above dense, heavy energies that used to feel very in your face, that you couldn't escape from. And you have voyage. There's a mother whale here with a baby whale. This could be you and maybe you're a parent or maybe your partner or whatever it is, or it could be on your own. This could be either an emotional journey, taking an emotional trip into this feeling of overflow. Maybe like you really were in survival mode for a large period of your time. Maybe you were living in your car or moving from couch to couch, or maybe you were moving from job to job, or maybe you weren't able to get a job. Whatever this survival mode was for you, I feel like you're literally taking a voyage. You could be moving house, moving areas, moving countries, or like I said, and or an emotional voyage where you're literally like this bird lifting up. There's this feeling of lifting up above the denseness, above the heaviness, because the whales here, it's like they're a hot air balloon. They're lifting above the sea here. The birds lifting up with the wind under their wings. The giraffe, the high neck, able to see up above the trees. And even this feather with the simplicity card, which could be a sign for you, by the way, from your spirit team. It's up in the sky, just gracefully gliding with lightness. Your overflow will be lightness. You're going to experience that freedom where you almost like, when you go down a hill on like an amusement park ride, or like in a car, if you're going down a hill really fast, or on your bike, or on a swing even, you get that exhilarated feeling of like when your stomach kind of drops. Some people don't like that feeling, but it can feel very exhilarating. My guides are showing me that feeling in your chest of like wow, like look what we're looking at, like look what we're experiencing. You may be traveling. They're actually showing me safari. You may be like seeing animals on safari and feeling that feeling of like, oh my gosh, like seeing a wildlife in its natural habitat can be extraordinarily exhilarating. That feeling of lightness that comes with the simplicity of life, where things are easy and simple and clear, and you can wake up in your day and you don't feel heavy. You feel lighter than these heavy energies that maybe were in your past. You feel, it's like when you wake up and you're on vacation and you're just like, or you're on summer vacation as a kid and you're just like, I have the whole day ahead of me, the whole season ahead of me. I can do whatever I want with this day. I feel so light. I feel so free. I feel so joyous. And whether you do everything or nothing at all, it's your choice. You have the freedom to choose. That's the overflow energy that you're going into. And my golly, is beautiful. What else do you want to tell group 4? Anything from this deck? They kind of told me no, but I just get stubborn sometimes. What else? What other deck do you want here? This Astro deck. We'll take a little peek-see-week-see into the energy. Yeah, they're showing me your sense of humor will be coming back. Like maybe you were always a very funny or like life of the party person. Maybe that got kind of like tamped down when you were in your survival mode. And now that's going to be coming back where you're just laughing. They keep showing me you laughing a lot. Oh, you got Psyche. I've never had this card. Like laughing until you're crying, just with like the ridiculousness of something, or just because that's freedom, right? When you can just have those open relationships with people where you're just laughing and joking and there's no self-monitoring. Okay, you got full moon, 6th house, and Psyche. So let's read about these. I think 6th house is your wellness and your physical body, because we got that card before. That's why I know that. Not because I'm a smarty. Okay, let's do 6th house first, because they're showing me that. Yeah, 6th house is a sign that it's time to get back to work, putting off your Putting off completing your to-do list results in a longer list. It's better to get ahead so you don't overwhelm yourself later. Look for ways to streamline or switch up your routine or to keep things from getting too stale. Okay, that's the line they're highlighting for me. The sixth house can also mean something with your health. If you've been neglecting your body, now it's time to reconnect. It may be changing your way of eating or trying different exercises. This card is the boost of confidence you need. And again, over here it says allow yourself to reevaluate your routines. Yeah, it says people with heavy sixth house can be prone to restrictive or obsessive behaviors. I feel like this has something to do with, where's the phrase that they said? Look for ways to streamline or switch up your routine to keep things from getting stale. I feel like, woo! Oh my gosh, they just reminded me that there was more we had to read with how that just slid back. I tried to put the book away and it popped back off. I forgot about the other two cards. Okay, let's do those before I get into this. I just saw Psyche here. Okay, in a reading, Psyche points to other people's expectations of us. Okay, see where this is going? Who we are and how we should behave is suddenly a topic of conversation. The empathetic side of you might internalize this, but like the old adage says, other people's opinion of you is none of your business. Your intuition is very heightened right now, and it's as though you can feel the emotions of everyone around you. You have the gift of sensitivity, and this allows you to turn even the worst of feelings into beauty and positivity. Yeah. Lead by example and show that kindness goes further than spite. Symbols, butterflies, roses, poetry, wildflowers. This is the goddess. And then the full moon. Yeah, I am getting earth energy here. You could have literal Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn. You don't have to. I'm just feeling that energy here. Like that beauty and enjoyment of life. What am I doing? Full moon. You have reached full illumination with this phase. Everything you have been working towards reaches a climax. Yeah, that's what we're getting. This is where you realize the journey is only half over and what goes up must come down. The positive cannot survive without the negative. That's a fact of life. So the plant you grew will soon begin its decay and subsequent death, but that's okay. This is all part of the purpose. Seeing and acknowledging our faults is the best thing we can do for our development. While it can hurt when we see our shortcomings, acknowledging them takes away their power. The key word here is clarity. Okay, so part of you coming out of this, I can't even remember the word now because I feel like we're too high in a frequency. Whatever's been going on with the past for you, I feel like it has to do with heavy expectations of others. This can be like you're a parent, you're a boss, you're an employee and your boss has high expectations of you or projecting things onto you. This has to do with finding that balance with the sixth house of getting your tasks done and, living life and being productive, but in a way that you feel free, in a way that you feel thriving, in a way that life feels easy and simple, in a way that this fountain is overflowing with blessings and joy. It's like, how there's just those people, like it's giving like yes, is it Yes Day or Yes Man? That one with Jim Carrey where he's living this kind of like very restricted, cold life and he just decides for one day, I can't remember the plot, but he decides for one day to just say yes to everything, and he tries this new class and he goes out on the date and he, volunteers for the thing because he has to say yes to whatever comes across his path, and it ends up just injecting this kind of like absurd like hilarity to everything. Like I said, that humor coming back, like how you have that coworker or the class clown and there's someone who kind of just uplifts the energy, who's always just like, hey guys, it's crazy hat day, and they wear the crazy hat, or it's costume day and they wear the costume, and they find this way to just make the simple tasks lighter, even if your role is your household manager or you're the parent or whatever it is. And maybe this has nothing to do with work, but whatever environment you're in for the majority of your day, you find a way to shift it and alchemize it from the mundane into this like inner child energy. And now it doesn't have to be irresponsibility or anything like this, because that can be a very frustrating energy if you're with a partner where everything's always fun and nothing ever gets done. That could be out of balance too, right? But this is about finding the balance of both and activating that inner child energy where you make the mundane and the simple things of life seem like they feel more enjoyable. Like, yes, you still have sixth house, a to-do list. Yes, you still have things that you have to do for your body. For example, if you have to do part of your overflow could be maybe you hate physical exercise. Maybe you're like, I don't like working out. There's nothing that I want to do. I know that I need to get in better shape. Maybe your doctors are telling you this, or you have, whatever, high blood pressure or something, and they need you to reduce your stress or your workload. And then all of a sudden, you tune into your intuition, you're meditating, or you just get a download while you're, in the shower or doing the dishes. And you're like, you know what? I've always wanted to do that dancing class, or I've always wanted to take up rock climbing, or I've always wanted to swim. Like, I love swimming. And all of a sudden you realize there's ways to address, the physical needs of our world with work and finances and our body. You can choose the thing that calls to your soul. And typically there's a thing that aligns for everything. Like, there's a way to eat, a way to move, a way to work, a way to play, a way to interact that really brings your soul alive. And sometimes it's just about identifying what that inner child would make, what choice they would make in that, and still get the thing done. Like, my daughter's like this. She's still very in her, like, her inner child is very, like, alive. And even when we wash our hands, like, say we're both in the bathroom at the same time brushing our teeth and we both wash our hands, I just wash my hands, like, get it done and, like, move on. She plays with the foam. She puts it up in the air. She blows bubbles every time. She puts a whole amount of the foam. She makes it all big. She tells me, like, do this, do that, listen to it. And I'm like, we're both washing our hands. Like, it's such a good example now that I think of it, because we're both washing our hands. We're both getting the thing done, but she's enjoying it way more than I am. She's found a way to use that inner child energy because not even that she's found a way, it's probably still very natural to her, right? And maybe I've lost that a little bit, although my inner child is very active, but she still shows me ways that the simple things can bring so much more joy into our life. And sometimes it's so oversaid that we kind of, like, disregard the advice, but there is something here about the way that you handle your sixth house things with responsibilities and work and your health. Did I say that already? Where maybe you're feeling a little bit of expectation. Maybe you're very empathic and psychic. Maybe you absorb other people's energies and expectations from you. And there's something here about letting the old just release with this full moon energy. Things are going to come to completion and they're going to release. Tasks are going to need to be done and then they're going to need to start over again. It's always going to be that ebb and flow, that full culmination, and then going back into the new moon. There's always going to be these cycles. So finding a way to embrace this journey with more lightness and freedom and thriving is how you're going to experience your overflow. It's really a perception change. It's the washing your hands in which way type of thing. Now, you don't have to do that for everything, but find out what lights you up in every moment of your day and try to find ways that those moments become led by your inner child. Like, almost, if you have time, like, sit down and ask yourself, okay, my morning commute, how would my inner child approach this? What does my inner child want to inject into this? And you may be surprised what they say. Maybe it's like, oh, we want a chocolate chip muffin for that drive, and you're like, a chocolate chip muffin? I haven't had that since I was, like, a kid. Or, we want to have this music playing, this playlist playing, and it's just like this wild, type of music that you haven't listened to in ages. Or, maybe it's like, okay, I've got to, do the dishes now and I've got to tidy up the house. But how would my inner child do this? Maybe it's getting your kids involved and if you have kids, and making it a game. Maybe it's making it a game with yourself where you're, like, dancing around and you're Mary Poppins and you're like bibbidi bobbidi boo and you're, like, pointing to this and this is getting clean and that's getting done, and you're dancing around and you're just having, like, so much fun. And maybe you have your favorite beverage and you have the music pumping and the windows open. It's so wild how the smallest things will shift the entire experience, from something mundane and task and routine to something that feels alive and free and like we're thriving. And I believe that that's what your shift to overflow is. It's like they're showing me if you had a fountain and it was just kind of like spewing out the tiniest bit of water, and then you clean the pipes and you just say, you know what, we just need a little tweak here. There's something here that's blocking the flow. And you clean the pipes of the gunk, and all of a sudden the fountain can overflow. All of a sudden the fountain can like be abundant. But it has something to do with the plumbing or the mechanics of this fountain, that not enough water is able to get through. There's some restriction. And I feel like the way that you do your routine, it could be this earth energy, this like too much routine, too much repetitive, not enough connecting into the flow of your higher self and the flow of your inner child and the flow of the higher realms, where they give you these really fun ideas and your soul's trying to be experienced more through your lens, through your perception. But if we squeeze that hose off, that's what they're showing me, a hose that we squeeze off, we restrict it, it does restrict the flow. So that overflow is you allowing your grip to loosen on that hose. Let go a bit of routines, let go a bit of expectations. If you don't get in bed one night, by the time that you're supposed to, let that be okay. Let yourself have that freedom and the simple joy of staying up to binge watch, your favorite movie with, your husband or your kids or your wife or your friend or by yourself, and just having that, moment where you're like, you know what, in the past I would have said, okay guys, it's time for bed, it's 9 o'clock, I let it go till 10, I let it go till 10:30. It's once in the week, it's not going to have any harm. And we all have that memory. Like, I remember my daughter still talks about this. One time we were getting ready for bed and we were both in our pajamas, and we heard, it must have been a long weekend, we heard fireworks outside, like at the park. And she kind of looked at me and I looked at her, and we were trying to see from the house, but we couldn't see just where the house was positioned. And she was like, I want to see. And I looked at the time and I was like, oh, Bub, it's past your bedtime, because she was younger. And then all of a sudden I was like, okay, let's go. And we just like ran out of the door. We both just like embraced this energy and let it carry us. And we both like ran out the door in our bare feet. Probably not a good idea. And we just like ran down. But the memory of it, we ran down our street and they had the fireworks at the park at the end of our street. And we just stood there in awe at the end of the street, as like the sky lit up with these fireworks over the trees. And it was like we couldn't see that from inside the house. But from outside, we just changed our perspective. We just let ourselves go where the fun seemed to be. And we still have that memory. She still talks about that. I remember when we ran outside in our bare feet in our pajamas and we used to watch the fireworks. And it was 5 minutes, you know what I mean? But like, we got into bed after that, but we let that 5 minutes be in our life. We let go of the hose to let that overflow come out, because I could have said, nope, it's bedtime. You're not, put shoes on, go change. You can't go out in your pajamas. We put all these arbitrary rules on sometimes, and, for good reason. We have good intentions, but sometimes it can really restrict our experience. Let's see what your cards are here. And that's part of the key to your overflow. Oh, you got card 36, lock. Something is hidden or locked. Okay, that's what I feel like it is. I feel like it's this feeling of unlocking and allowing more freedom, because you have this freedom card here, into your life, and unlocking some of these rules. Sometimes we'll have the rule and the routine, and sometimes just let a little bit of it to be unlocked. Let the little crazy fun come out sometimes. Let the extra... get the extra guac, get the extra cheese, get the extra butter. Like, sometimes, make that choice and see what that feeling brings into your life. You have card 32, obstacle. Yeah, overcoming a blockage on your path. I feel that could be what the blockage is, like the full moon thing said. Something you maybe need to release, something in your past that is no longer serving you. It could have been a really rigid upbringing. It could be, like I said, rules that you've kind of kept I'm sure they're there for a good reason, kept your life together, like functioning on. Maybe you have a big family or a lot of responsibilities, and sometimes these rules and routines are the only thing keeping, mayhem and chaos from the door. But there's something here that's a blockage and something that needs to be unlocked, that as you open this and as you kind of overcome this obstacle or this perception shift or this whatever it is that you feel is standing in your way, you have this heavy perceptions and expectations of others. This could be how other people are perceiving you. Maybe it's like you will get these obstacles and blockages come up when you want to challenge the norm. It's part of it, because there's a norm that's in place and people are looking at you with expectations and they think, projections, and this is how it should be. And sometimes you have to challenge that. Adventure, yes. Look at this. Be open to new experiences. That's what this is all about for you. It's like a whole world of exciting. Your overflow has heavily to do with experiences, like all the things I've been describing to you, trying different things, allowing yourself to go there, allowing yourself to unlock that box of or unlock the rules for the day or the routine. Alignment. Oh, I love this. Card 23. You can do hard things. Being in alignment with our higher self, it just feels like thriving. It feels like freedom. It feels like ease. It feels good. It feels like fun and excitement. And that's the energy that you're moving into with this overflow energy. Excuse me. They are drawing your reading to a close. Thank you so much for being here. There's a lot of goodies here to reflect on. I hope that it was helpful and it resonated. If you felt drawn to another group, I'll see you there shortly. And if not, I'll see you in another reading on another day. Bye.